All right, everyone, please rise for the pledge and remain standing for the prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day. What a beautiful afternoon, what a beautiful day. We're just blessed beyond measure. And it's a great reminder, too, of even our struggles and trials with last week, with enduring the heat wave, that there's always hope around the corner. And there are always better days ahead. And we thank you for that. And we thank you for the blessing of this evening, for this opportunity to come together. We thank you for each and every individual, not just in this room, but also in this community. And we thank you for your hedge of protection upon this community and to help us be your hands and feet to one another, to show love to one another, to be neighborly to one another. And we pray for your wisdom as well tonight and to help us make decisions that reflect your heart for this community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Jan, if you would, roll call.
Brad Salmore.
Present.
Bob Lay.
Here.
Jason Brewer.
Here.
Nice.
Here.
Theo Freeze.
Here.
All right. And we do have, I don't know if you look to your right, we do have a treasurer and trainer. So, yeah. So, Amy, welcome aboard. Wonderful to have you here. I trust everyone's had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. And if so, I would entertain, if there are no questions or comments, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Consent agenda approved as presented. Is you? No, I don't. Yvette's not here. Okay, so our presenter is not here. Maybe she's just running late. Department reports. There's something that will be. You guys won't have the opportunity to see this, but it'll be popping up on the screen for those watching. Strengthening Families Program for parents and youth ages 10 to 14. This is something that's been put on by county extension office, and it's at the Randolph County Fairgrounds, and it does include free meals for the whole family. Free child care will be available during the sessions, and free incentives to families to attend and for them to take home and utilize with the family. But basically, all it is it's a program that's designed to allow families to gain tools, skills, and strategies to build stronger families in 7 weeks. So it's a program that's completely free, but space is limited to 10 families, and it starts September 5th and runs through October 10th. So again, the QR code for people to learn more about it will be on the screen as people watch this. But I want to make sure we get the word out on that. So that's from the Purdue Extension Office in Randolph County. Another thing, I sent out a survey to the emergency personnel regarding the collaboration to garner their insights, and we're sharing that with the Board of Works and Council, and then basically the same survey is going out to the community here pretty shortly. So just to get feedback and insight. So it's been extremely favorable so far. Department reports. Eric, did you have anything you want to touch on before we move on?
No, I want to thank you for having a meeting with us last week.
Oh, absolutely.
Very beneficial.
Thank you for your help. Big time. Jan.
No, been introducing you, but you already did that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I screwed that up. Council members, Tita, we'll start with you.
Yes, I just had a question about, I was reviewing the financials, and I saw I added up several transactions that added up to $8,600, over $8,600 on what's labeled as Roots Deli Supplies. And so I'm just wondering why the city is still buying supplies for that local business. Are we going to be buying supply? Well, let me just stop there.
No,
So why we're still, I thought they were set up and going, and so I'm just like.
Do you know what those are for specifically?
That's basically coming to an end, and it was just to get them off the ground and launch them into success is the conversation.
Okay. That's part of, we've got a gentleman on the line, Dell, I can't remember the guy's last name, that's in partnership with Darby, that they're looking to make acquisition, and she's got all the expenditures for that building and all the costs associated with the business.
So that's all getting added into the cost of the
Yes.
building that they
Yes.
will.
Well, we talked about lease or rent, but yet they want to buy, they want to purchase, so it's got to go before redevelopment.
Okay.
And if they redevelopment approves it, then there'll be a purchase for that structure and everything associated with the cost.
Okay.
So, anything else?
That's all. I have.
Tim,
I don't have anything.
Jason,
No, I don't think so.
Bob,
I don't have anything.
Brandon.
Nothing this evening.
Steve, you have anything?
Nope.
All right, and we do have our student representative back, Josiah.
Hello.
How you doing?
It's good to be back. So I got a couple of things with, school is starting back up and having a lot of events going on. Here lately, we've been having some football games and some volleyball games, many programs going on. We're getting new students, including like foreign exchange students, all the way from Belgium, which is really nice. So I hope to welcome them into our town and hope that they have a great time here. And there's a lot of things going on at our school that are really exciting. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
Appreciate it. Cool. Good to have you back. No old business at the moment. New business ordinance 2023-13, which is the handicap parking ordinance. And you've got that in front of you.
This
So-
is just an amendment to our existing handicap parking spaces. We're adding a space in front of 624 North Union Street.
Which you covered on the previous meeting.
For a handicapped child that they just want to ensure there's always parking in front of their house.
So what happens if they move to a different location? Does that handicap spot revert back to a permanent?
It can revert back to that. We can just remove it.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be moving. They were renting on State Line and they're buying this house, so I think that they're probably there for a good while.
Yeah.
They both work locally, so I would anticipate that this is a kind of more of a permanent fix for them.
But that would be our normal procedure if
Correct.
somebody does
Yeah,
move.
we
or
can
somebody
absolutely just
ages
pull it
out of
back
a
out.
location that we.
Okay.
We're not painting the curbs, we're not doing anything like that. All we're doing is putting a city-issued sign there.
Okay. Another question. I move we adopt ordinance 2023-13, ordinance to amend chapter 76 of the ordinances of the city of Union City.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those, or no, Janet, if you would, we'll call those.
Brandon Elmore,
Yes.
Bob Wade.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
K.I.S.
Yes.
Peter Freeze.
Yes.
And then next is the interlocal agreement with Winchester for trial of city ordinance violations. And I'm going to turn this over, if you don't mind, to give a brief overview to Linda, if you wouldn't mind.
No, can I?
Yes, absolutely.
Ryan can correct anything I say that's wrong.
I'm sure you'll get it right. You got it right.
I'm hoping that you've all had an opportunity to look at the interlocal, which fascinated me. I'm not really sure how one entity can sign an interlocal when the other entity hasn't seen the interlocal, but be that as it may. I don't have any particular concerns about the interlocal, except that it doesn't address the financial status that I think we need to address. Excuse me. In the interlocal, they're specifying that they keep the fines and we keep the court costs. Well, we would keep the court costs anyway, because that's the way it works. And the jurisdiction gets their fines. However, my feeling is, if you look at the email that I sent all of you about the statistics, about what we're doing now, our caseload has quadrupled since we took over. In 2000 and, well, 20 isn't a really good example because of the pandemic. But in 2019, we did 176 cases. In 2022, we did 550 when we took over their traffic and ordinances. By the way, we've been doing their ordinances without their interlocal. This year, if we keep on track the way we are now, we'll have over 800 cases. So you can see, as an example, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, which is, and my docket goes from 10 to 12, which is ridiculous, because tomorrow morning I have 57 cases on the docket at 10 o'clock. Christy and I will be there all day trying to get through those 57 cases. And that doesn't account for the time it takes to do all the paperwork afterwards. Also, if you look at the statistics, Union City City Court brought in a total of $13,309 in 2019. Of that, only $3,700 went to Union City. The rest of it is dispersed by the state. The legislature decides where all the money goes. This year, we will take in probably a little over $90,000. And Union City will get about 30,000 of those 90, which is considerably more than the 3,700 they got just 4 years ago. So the caseload has become really astronomical. We are now considering that we're going to have 2 dockets a week. We're going to have to do Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm also doing at least 3 trials a week, sometimes more. I now get all of the CDL cases from 36, so that, and if you're not familiar with that, it's the commercial license. And if you get a ticket and you have a commercial license, you can't get insurance if you either admit or are found guilty. And so they all go to trial in an attempt to try to avoid it. They used to be able to reduce that down to, a non-traffic violation, but you can't do that anymore. The federal government doesn't allow it. So we're hearing a lot more trials. So my feeling about it is that Winchester chose to close their court. They have over 3,600 outstanding failure to pay cases because they've never turned them over to collections like we do. And those 3,600 cases, the Supreme Court says once they close, you can't just close those cases. Those cases have to be assigned to a higher court. So Superior Court is going to get an influx of 3,600 cases. My feeling is that given the status of all of the challenges in closing their court, that we should feel comfortable with asking them not only to adopt the interlocal as it is, we should be adding at least an additional $15,000 to the interlocal, at least for the next 4.5 years, until we see how it levels off. I don't think that's too much to ask them to do. They are no longer going to be paying their judge, and they were paying their judge $32,000 a year, and they are no longer going to be operating the court, and their budget was very similar to ours in terms of operational numbers, and they are no longer going to be paying their clerk. So there is no reason why they should not be adding that $15,000. And then my suggestion is that we use 10 of that to augment salaries and 5,000 of that to augment operations here. So And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Yes, Jim.
So it seems to me we have more cases because of them. Winchester has more cases than Union City does. Is that correct?
Well, Winchester doesn't, but the issue, they don't issue more tickets than we do. The issue is the State Highway Patrol, Randolph County Sheriffs, they all would cite into Winchester because it was a little closer for them. That's where the bulk of the cases are coming from. Winchester, their caseload is probably not much different than ours in terms of the traffic. And to tell you the truth, I've only had about 3 or 4 ordinance violations from Winchester in the last year and a half.
Okay, so how come the county or the state, I mean, did Winchester get anything from them? Or
No.
was this the way it was?
And in fact, Ryan and I talked about why the county and the other jurisdictions have not contributed over the years. Apparently there isn't a real desire to be part of the team in terms of covering those costs.
So do we have to hear them then if they don't want to be part of the team?
Yes. Yeah. We're the
I
only,
don't understand why, because we have to foot the bill for.
we are the only jurisdiction that has a city court.
Right.
We have to hear the traffic if there is no other city court. We could tell them we're not going to hear their ordinance violations, and they'd have to.
I'm just asking, because I'm just wondering, because, that it's equal to 15,000. I mean, we still have to pay.
But here's the deal, Jan. Courts were never meant to be a money-making
That's right,
organization.
I get that. So I don't know why we have to foot I'm just saying we shouldn't foot the bill any more than anybody else. So.
Well, we're the only city court, and the State Highway Patrol and the Randolph County Sheriffs have the right to write the ticket into any city court they want to in the county. And since we are the only one, they're going to write the tickets here. That's just the way it is. I have no objection in pursuing whether the county would like to contribute. I don't know how successful we'll be, but I'm not opposed to that. But I still think that even if the county does decide to contribute, the Winchester should pay us the $15,000 regardless. Yes, Tim.
Just if our city court ceased to exist, those cases would go to the county, wouldn't they?
Yes, they'll go to Judge Arnett.
Yeah.
And given his current caseload, I talked to the I want to call him district attorney, the prosecutor, and their feeling is that if we didn't hear the cases and if we closed our court, those traffic cases would never be heard, because Superior Court has and Ryan can tell you, Superior Court has a delay that is astronomical.
Right, yeah.
And those cases would certainly fall below felonies and misdemeanors.
Well, I feel like the argument we have at that point is that in order for us to maintain a court at the level we need to hear this number of cases, we need some contribution, and that it would be far more economical for the county and Winchester to contribute to ours than to particularly the county at this point. If we were unable to continue our court, that would put a tremendous burden. They'd have to make some changes. And it would be very
My big
expensive on the
concern
county.
is they would just assign them to Superior and it would just sit there. Because there isn't, unlike misdemeanors and felonies, there isn't a timeline where you have to hear a traffic case. And those cases would just sit at Superior. And I don't have any problem with trying to convince them that they should contribute, because I think they should. But I think that the success of that, I don't want to see the court's future depend on the success of whether the county makes a contribution or not. I feel very good about what we've done. We process cases quickly. We've worked out a great arrangement with the prosecutor's office, and we move through the cases. They don't sit. And if you don't pay, I give people ample time to pay. I even give them opportunity to do community service. If they don't do one or the other after a 90-day period of time with no attempt, we turn them over to collections, and our collections agency is approved by the Supreme Court, and they've done a great job of squeezing funds out of people.
Well, and I guess part of the point with that is that if those cases would just lay in languish, it basically renders enforcement
Useless.
useless.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If your case is never going to come up, then it makes the
And I can give you
makes
an
enforcement
example.
futile.
If you get a driving while suspended, and you get a second driving while suspended, it's called a prior. Then it becomes a misdemeanor. Well, people who have a driving while suspended know that if they get a second and they don't come to court, and we can't get them to court, they don't get the prior, so they don't get the misdemeanor. But we've worked out an arrangement now with the prosecutor's office where they come to court and ask for a default judgment if they don't show up. And so we can enter a default judgment, and then it becomes a prior. Yeah. So the other thing I can tell you is one of the good things that has come out of this is that we've worked out an arrangement with the Winchester Animal Shelter, and people who cannot pay their tickets, particularly I get a lot of e-cigarette tickets for adolescents, and I don't allow parents to pay their kids' tickets. Their kid has to come up with the money or do some kind of community service. And so Winchester Animal Shelter has taken a lot of these kids over the last several months and done a great job. In fact, 2 of the ones I sent have now become full-time volunteers at the animal shelter. So it's it makes me feel good that we've done something positive out of it. So anyway, that's where I stand on it. Any other questions? Ryan?
No, I was just going to point out that as far as the interlocal agreement, that I'm hearing that Winchester already passed this. I mean, it's very simple. It's a very simple agreement, but as you can see, the bottom of page 1, number 3, financing and staffing. I mean, Union City is footing the bill for everything, and Winchester is just footing the bill for an attorney to come over and prosecute their ordinance violations.
Which they're obligated to do.
Right. I mean, that wouldn't be something Union City would do. But no, I mean, I do think that it is important to have some type of a city court in the county to hear these things, because otherwise the county, I mean, just brainstorming, I suppose the county could appoint a commissioner for like Superior Court where they would do nothing but hear ordinance violations from all the, I mean, I don't even know where the money would come from for that. I don't know. I mean, it would cost the county money to do that. But as far as this goes, I mean, I think that the interlocal agreement itself is fine. It's just that I would agree that there probably needs to be a little more help from them.
More than the 15,000?
I'm open to that.
I mean, well, no, sure. I mean, probably because they're saving. How much did you say they're saving by not having a judge?
Well,
they have
they're
to pay a
saving
judge.
$32,000 on their judge's salary, and then whatever they've paid their, let's say they pay their clerk the same as we do, which is another, 25, 19, 20. So that's 50, say. And then just the general operation is another,
Our budget for
30.
60.
yeah.
And that's
So-
right now, so if you want to increase it. it's
Yes,
gonna
so
be-
so they're probably saving close to maybe 75,000 a year.
At least.
Yeah.
What would
So-
you say is a fair and equitable figure?
I mean, I would probably say 20, 25.
I was thinking 25. It's still pretty fair.
It's still a big, huge savings for
And,
them.
and
Yep.
Jason, Brandon, Tito, what do you guys say?
My concern is, would we be putting that into the interlocal and renegotiating it, or is it a separate thing? Is it, if we sign this, will that preclude us being able to ask them for 25,000?
It
we
would.
basically,
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't pass this.
Until it's has
you're going to
that
have to
language.
write up an amendment, or you're going to have to write an addition to this into
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Which,
Right.
yeah.
Would you suggest they consider approving this with said amendment, or just wait altogether?
I would probably wait.
Okay.
I would wait until we approach them and say, hey, time to.
I think that's, we've got a consensus,
Right.
so maybe you approach them with our consensus. And
Well, do we have a consensus? We got
Yes.
Bob and you. Do we-
Yes.
Okay.
25.
25.
25,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're 25, right?
Yeah. 25.
Is that okay? Is that okay?
It's okay with me. Just to add, and Ryan knows about this, one of the things that brought this on wasn't that they were concerned about an interlocal agreement, but they're facing some issues based on an ordinance violation over there, and they didn't have an interlocal to cover their ordinance violations. See, the traffic is handled by more by statute than the ordinance, because the ordinances are city-based, and traffic is all state-based. And so they're really feeling the pressure to do something because they're having some issues with their ordinance enforcement. So I think the impetus is now to get them to do something.
Totally agree.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ryan. All right. Visitors wishing to address the board, and I think we've got some. I know we've got some visitors here. So if you would, please state your name and address and nature of business. Maybe we don't. Okay,
Jan, did we put Brianna's Hope and Eric on the agenda, or is it?
apparently, well, I don't see that's no, it's
It wasn't
not.
on the agenda because I don't, you didn't tell me that till this morning, so I guess I should have wrote it on here.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I should-
Okay, well then we will turn it over to Brandon's Hope.
Well, you got Eric and then Brianna's Hope, so
Okay.
with whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, these are technically.
Okay, I gave you some information on your desk. My team and I have been, over the last 45 days, have been doing some exhaustive research on some new used ladder truck. The one we have, I've outlined in there, several problems that'll be very expensive to fix. It's been a great asset for our community, and we'd like to improve on that. We physically went and looked at 4 separate trucks, laid our hands on them, pumped them, made them work them completely. Then I attached it as a grading sheet where I applied a scale to it and kind of graded them out so that we was trying to be fair to everybody. They're in order of preference on there from 1 to 3. The last one I completely eliminated from consideration because it's just very poor condition, and it doesn't improve our situation, I don't think. So if you have any questions about the information that's there, I'd be happy to answer any of them. What I'm asking for is an approval to spend as much as $200,000 maximum. and that would include the purchase of the unit with some miscellaneous cost after that. You got to put some graphics on it. In some cases, you might have to replace a couple of lights or change the threads on the pump panel or something of that nature. Not $5,000-$10,000 extra, so depending on the purchase price. At the top of each of those pages is the price that they were asking. They're nowhere near those prices. So my first choice is the 97 model, and they're asking $225, and I've made a non-binding proposal for $125. And I'm hopeful that they'll accept that. The second one, which I had to, they kind of forced me into making a proposal on that one because they had another fire department sending one in, and they knew if we wanted to have an option to buy it, we had to get it in. So that one is the $175,000. That's my maximum amount on that one. I won't give them another dollar over that if that's not good enough, because that one's going to require some additional cost to make it operational for us. But its condition was exceptional.
And we don't know what the additional cost would be at this time until somebody actually gets in there and.
I don't like that number two. That I have to put a couple cross lays. They got the plumbing there, but I have to make some adjustments to make it what I would consider operational for us. I think we can do that for hundreds of dollars, not thousands, because we can have it done locally. You know, Nick does a great job for us in manufacturing trays and stuff like that. So I don't really see a huge cost in that when we do most of the work. But that one in particular has a couple of torn seats that need to get replaced or repaired. So some upholstery work. They have lights on it that are blue, and then it's from Connecticut. In Indiana, we're not allowed to have blue lights on a fire truck. So we have to replace those 6 or 8 blue lights with red ones. And they're a couple $150 a piece. So there are some additional costs of stuff like that. But the one at the top of my list, don't have to do anything to it except put our name on it.
So it's 5,000 miles, right?
It's the one with 5,000 miles.
You said it's in Lawrence, been in Lawrenceburg.
It's in Lawrenceburg.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm saying that's a little better environment for one, no miles.
Dude,
a little better environment climate-wise.
It's a super truck. You know, like I said, I've called the manufacturer, which is E1, and talked with their shop supervisor in Ocala, Florida. They said that they still manufacture the parts for that ladder. They have no trouble servicing it. They've not had any trouble with the unit, those kind of things in general. So it's a really good fit, and it'd be a super upgrade for us. And just for information, a brand new ladder is $2 million. And we're talking about a pretty good upgrade for that $125,000, $150,000 range. So good purchase. The problem with the process is these are all trucks that are out there online for everybody to see, and everybody across the country is able to call and win. Just like the one in Connecticut, they had another offer on it, and I had to get one in, and they're going to make that decision pretty soon. And I'm fearful when they call me and say I'll take it, or they want me to negotiate a little difference, then right after that they're going to want the money, and I didn't want to have to wait another couple of weeks if I didn't have to. So I don't have an actual one yet. The third one on the list, I didn't talk about. It's still an option, but I'm going to hold on to that guy as long as I can until my other 2 options fall out. He's got a truck that I like, but it's a little more used, but he's a motivated seller. And I got him giving us everything. So if I end up with that, I think I can get it for a little bit of nothing and get a whole lot of stuff from it. Any questions?
So again, what did you think the market value is of the truck that we currently have to potentially sell it?
What do I think it's worth on the market?
Yeah.
$25,000 or whatever the junkyard will give us.
But I'm just saying, like, it would offset some of the
They're not
cost.
going to give us.
The last paragraph in there talks about I plan on selling the tower that we currently have and engine 93. because I don't believe we need as much equipment as we got. So that's going to reduce that. We have a balance due on engine 93, and I'm certain I can sell that and the tower and probably come out net zero by the time I'm done. The problem is I need the money now for this one, and it might take 1 to 3 or 4 months to sell the others through the same process.
It sounds like a good timing to do it before the end of the year, then.
I don't know if there's ever a good time to spend the money for on a front end like this, but I could go back to the drawing board and look for more.
A lot of the use you had for engine 93 has been diverted to the I can't remember the rescue pumper. Or not the rescue pumper, but the newest truck.
Yeah, it's a urban interface unit. Of course,
Yeah.
grass season it gets a little more use. It has some deficits. It's a really good engine. It's a good purchase, but a couple pieces that doesn't really fit for our operation too well. So I think we'd be beneficial to move it and keep something else we got.
It's a nice, valuable piece.
Yeah, and it still has some value to it. So I think we can get some value out of
And
it.
I don't think we were into it too bad, really, for what we paid for.
Oh God, man, no.
It was
I think we got 150.
The biggest part of this conversation, when Eric approached me with the opportunity, is the collaboration. These evaluations have been done collaboratively, first of all. Second of all, the biggest part of the conversation is we believe that we can get to $0, meaning losing a payment and reducing the fleet, which is huge for this community. That's less maintenance, that's less, replacement, that's less insurance, that's less of everything. And engine 93 is the most marketable truck to do that with.
Yeah.
It replaces it with a vehicle that has 5,200 miles on it. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a 97. So I mean, that's low miles.
Engine 93 probably has more than 5,200 miles on it.
Yeah.
So, this ladder truck he's looking at in Lawrenceburg, I believe, was paid for when they built the casino, and it's just never fit into their operation. So it's set at their second station up on the hill, and it's rarely even used. So,
For like 5,200 parade miles.
correct.
Yeah. And does this fit within your current budget?
Yeah.
We don't have a budget. We don't have a line item budget for the purchase of that.
Yeah, that's what
But
we
is it just
Zeroed out. I mean,
is it just a line item rearrangement, or do you need are we asking for additional appropriations or something?
I'm asking.
Purchase the truck, you're gonna have to do an additional.
We're gonna have to do an
appropriation.
additional.
No money allocated to buy that, not $150,000.
That's my question. Where do we pull it from to?
Oh, well, I'd like to take a look, but we have money in the general fund. There might be some in the public safety fund too. I don't have that with me. But, you'd have to do an additional out of, it'd be out of the general fund.
If you're comfortable that we can do this.
Well, yeah, especially if it's a couple of months.
Yeah, it's gonna come back. Right.
The company that sells all these, well, Brenda Lee, they're the broker, he actually buys equipment. I got the paperwork to fill out to turn into him, and he'll end up giving me a quote of what he'll pay me
For 93
straight up.
and
So
stuff.
it's possible, if it gives me the right number, I can just dump that on him in weeks and not months. Or I can put it on his website and let the whole world to see it and see what happens. If they call and they go buy it, I'm guessing there's a chance of making a little more that way, or we can take what he offers and be done with it.
Yeah, it just depends on how.
So it
good
just
his offer
depends
is.
on how good I think the offer is that he gives us.
So if we approve this, what would be the process? Like, do we authorize it, and then if the money goes out, then we have to go back and do appropriate?
You have to do an additional appropriation.
the additional appropriation.
After
If
the
you
fact.
approve it and we find out whichever one we
You'll find out exactly what it is you have to write the check for.
Additional appropriation for that. The money, the money's there, the appropriation is permission to spend.
I understand.
So,
And just to be clear, the Engine 93 was a $409,000 purchase for this community. It's only 3 years old. The value of that truck is still there. For a department anywhere in this country to order a duplicate truck, they're looking at a 2-year build time. So when we put this truck online or on the market, I believe there's going to be a large desire to buy this truck.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, we have a motion to proceed.
What figure do we want to use? 200,000?
Yeah, that's what he's asking to use, just to give him the leeway.
I move that we approve $200,000 for purchase of a ladder truck.
We have a first on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jan, if you would, roll call vote.
Brandon Elmore,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Peter Frew.
Yes.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I'll stay in case you have any questions afterwards.
Thank you so much. Now, Brianna Zoe.
I'll start it and then I'll turn it over to Tyler. My name's Jeff. I'm the pastor at Wesley United Methodist Church, and I just want to introduce how Brianna's Hope started, and then we'll turn it over for our operation with Tyler. So we're not quite asking for $200,000 today. But at 2015 is when I was approached to be the chaplain for the police and fire department, and so we signed up and we did that. And at that time, there wasn't really much we could do for from the police standpoint for those that are struggling with addiction. It's just arrest them and that was it. And then I think it was in 2017 is when Bill and Steve and Kobe, they all started the Hope Initiative. And it had 3 prongs: the education, the enforcement aspect, and then the rehabilitation. And so they asked the church to find a rehabilitation. That's where we went with Brianna's Hope. And then I think it was 2016, I think is what it was, 16 or 17, is when we brought the Brianna's Hope program here at church. And since that time, I don't have the statistics where we've sent, but in the last 3 months, I think we sent 3 people to rehab over to Harbor Lights. And typically what happens is the police department calls us. And the last one was Officer Wine and said, hey, we got this young man that's struggling with addiction and he needs to go to rehab. And so one of our representatives go up there, typically it's me or Kevin Lawrence, we'll meet with them, talk with them, invite them into the family, and then send them to rehab at no cost to the person. What we want to do is remove any obstacles for anybody going to rehab. So we actually pay for gas, getting them to Indianapolis, we pay for the rehab, we pay to get them home. So there's expenses, obviously. There's t-shirts. We used to do a meal every day, or I'm sorry, once a week, every meeting. And so we do some tags and things of that nature. Tyler, he's been clean now, and I don't want to tell his story. I'll let him tell it for about 3 years through the program, and now he runs the program, and there are many, many people that are in the process of rehabilitation as well. So I'll let him share a little bit about Brianna's Hope, and then if you guys have any questions about it, we'll hear the answer them.
So I'm Tyler Miller. So this one, so I'm a son of the city, you know. Love the city, but unfortunately, I got wrapped up in some bad things that happened in the city. You know, I'm sober over 2.5 years because of this program, because of Kevin Lawrence, because of the choice I made. I wouldn't have made that choice without this program, without him, without Kevin. And I wouldn't have stayed that way. You know, there's a great need in this community. There's a plague across the country. You know, it's really bad here because of we're the hub, you know. Union City, Indiana, Ohio. Dayton's right down here, Richmond's right over here. Winchester has a problem too. But yeah. If I wouldn't have had this program, I'd still be, it wouldn't be very good. You know, I lost my sons. Today, I have my sons. That's the most important thing to me. You know, I have a lot of great friends. I'm sober now. One of them right here. I'm not here. She was actually, if anybody has a question about what I was doing, she was in it with me, you know. And we're thankful to the church for having it there, because the church should be the outreach to the community. You know, that's all I got. You got any questions for me?
I had the blessing of meeting with Tyler as fast as time goes. It's been about a week ago now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And not only a great testimony, not a great story, but also just it's hard to help moving forward. And he's got some great ideas, for the community, and it's just awesome when it's one thing to be on the path of recovery and get your life back, but it's another thing altogether different to want to help everybody else get their lives back as well. And that's a big reason why he's here. When he's a joy to talk to, and you're a lot younger than I thought too. No, I always say that because we were talking about state line heritage days. I said, yeah, back in the 80s. He goes, I was born in 1988. I go, I'm sorry.
I'm the only person that thinks I'm older than that.
Yeah.
I'm younger.
Well, you handle yourself well. But yeah, just very thankful for you, and just thankful for what you're trying to accomplish. This is just awesome.
So I reached out to Brianna's Hope primarily after Journey Home was here the last time. You guys were, at least I felt like you were looking for something more local to, invest some of our opioid monies in.
Yes.
That this is our legitimate path to do that. Jan and I looked today. We're sitting at about $7,500 left in our opioid money, and I've asked them to come present so that we could put that money to good use and what it was intended for.
100%. I move that we donate the pledge the $7,500 to Brianna's Hope.
Is it 75 and change? Should we just say all remaining funds?
The remaining funds.
All remaining funds
Yes.
from opioids?
Yes, absolutely.
We have a first on the floor.
I'll second.
We have multiple seconds.
Brandon and so just pick one.
I thought it. I can't tell.
I was first.
Brandon made the motion.
Yeah, Brandon made first. I can tell who second. Bob.
Everybody second.
You want me to just do?
No.
Okay, go for it.
Brandon Elmore?
Yes.
Bob Wade?
Yes.
Jason Brewer?
Yes.
Tim Heiss?
Yes.
Peter Peters?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Also, Brianna's Hope, believe it or not, they have helped parents with kids of addicts and that are addicts. My son's in prison. He was an addict, and it's like you look at him and you think, well, come on, get with it. You don't understand. But once you start going to Brianna's Hope and you get to learn about them, they're human. They're just like any one of us. They have a bad way of going. But being a parent of an addict, they give us hope.
That's
And
awesome.
I just want you guys to know that we really need this program.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I'd like to say one more thing.
Absolutely.
Just real quick, I apologize for
No,
taking time.
good.
But Tyler works 10 hours full-time, third shift at Frank Miller. So he's gainfully employed full-time now. And we went through a training that was in Indianapolis. So he worked all night long, got off at 7 o'clock. We left at 7:15, went to all training all day at Indianapolis so he could continue with this program. Gets back at about 5:30 and goes to work at 6 o'clock to work on a 10-hour shift. My point is just that he is dedicated to do so, and I'm just extremely proud, and we are thankful to have him. So we do appreciate your support. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Marcy. All right. Any visitors wishing to address the board?
Yeah, I'll address some.
Yeah, Matthew.
How's it going? My name's Matt. I'm gonna compliment what Tyler was talking about. I met with Tyler, actually with Chad here this last week. And I've only been here a few years here in Union City. I've been here at this council before. I know Tim, he's my neighbor. I handle a lot of food boxes. That's why I was here last time, to the migrant community and everywhere. But I met Tyler actually when I first moved here. I'm connected with his family, Vincent Hernandez, rest in peace in heaven. But I was connected with him, so I knew Tyler when he wasn't good. So I didn't even know who Chad was talking about. He's like, "Hey, you gotta eat this Tyler guy." I asked Tim, I'm like, "Hey, who's this Tyler guy?" I couldn't pick it. And when I seen him, I was like, "That's the Tyler, the guy I've been praying with his aunt and uncle for so long." Like, it's just a blessing to see the fruit. That's real fruit right there.
Yeah.
On the home idea, I agree that something that blew my mind when I first moved here. My story. I got out of prison. I did 12 years. I paroled 5 years ago. I gave up all my gang affiliations, started serving the Lord. Richard Collins saw my Facebook testimony on Facebook and called me out here to Union City to share it. And the next thing you know, they took me to Dayton. Long story short, a year later, I moved out here, planted roots. I bought Vincent Hernandez's house here in Union City, and I've just been active in this community. I've met Jeff right after I got here as well. And something that always blew my mind is the lack of help for men specifically in this area. If you need any help, or like a rehab or a halfway house or some kind of assistance, you got to go to Dayton or you got to go to Muncie. And there's really nothing here in Darke County, Randolph County. I know it's not about Darke County, but still so connected. There's nothing here. And so my heart has always been that we should have something here locally. I have a house that I bought here locally, and I was hoping that I could actually turn it into some kind of halfway house. Tim knows I've been doing it at my house personally. He sees all kinds of families living with me for times and coming. Probably had like 4 or 5 families since last year. I meet him on the street struggling. We take him home. But I would really like to do something in this community if it would be allowed. And I definitely want to partner with Brianna's Hope and Tyler and what they're doing, because I think we're better together. It's not about me. It's about reaching the one and seeing people restored. I don't do halfway houses. I call them restoration stations. We don't do programs. We do life with people, and we just want to build relationships with people. And I think it would really help this community, because you don't have nothing like it. And we all see all these problems, and you see all these people and complain about the problem, and we point fingers at the problem, but we don't have no solution. Winners find ways to win. And I feel this is a win, right? And we're all winners, and we do care about Union City. I see I love Union City heart signs everywhere, but we have so much struggle here. And that's just in the American, you go to the migrant community, there's more struggle there. I know personally, because I'm there in that community, there's just so much struggle and so much hardship, and I think it'd be good to give people a hand up, not a handout. That's all.
Thank you, everyone. Our next council meeting will be Monday, September 11th, and that'll be at 6 p.m. And the date of Board of Works is also that day, and that'll be at 1 p.m. It's a tough day. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.